All right, it's time for a little stock up, stock down here on Four Verts. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. We're kind of entering that part of the offseason. We're not a ton going on. Obviously, we had the Brock Purdy news, and stories will drop, and we'll break those down. But with the draft behind us, free agency mostly done, the schedule release, thought I'd go division by division and just stock up, stock down for each team in every division. Today, we'll do the AFC North. This is how things played out in 2024. The Ravens won the division once again. The Steelers made a wild card at 10-7. Cincinnati rallied late, but fell short of the playoffs at 9-8. And then the Browns just had a disastrous season by going 3-14. So let's sit here and break down where I think every team is after this offseason. Okay, I'm going to go stock up on Baltimore. Really no notable losses this offseason. I like some of the additions they were able to make as well. You start with free agency. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is close to his peak anymore, but I think it gives Lamar a big body option, a little back shoulder guy. Gives them a different type of receiver than they've had. He's still good in the red zone. He can work those back shoulder fades, so I like that pickup. Chidobe Awuzie, he could be a starter. He could be a backup, quality corner depth. They re-signed Ronnie Stanley, which I think was pivotal. You get him at left tackle. Thought it was a reasonable price as well. Derrick Henry, you get him extended, so he's here for the foreseeable future. I think Cooper Rush is an upgrade at backup quarterback. Joe Noteboom, swing tackle, who started a lot of games in this league. So thought they made sensible moves in free agency. And then I didn't like certain picks they had, but their first two picks have a chance to be instant impact guys. Malachi Starks, especially with the Ardarius Washington injury. I love that pick. Love the value they got at 27. Mike Green obviously had the sexual assault allegations. They're going to take some heat for that pick, but they were comfortable with it. And as a talent and as a player, I thought he was a top 15 player in the draft. So to get him on board late in the second round, if they're comfortable with it, I think he's got a chance to be really good. I'm intrigued by LeJontay Wester as well. Maybe not a ton this year, but I think down the road he could contribute. Obviously, a big bummer for Baltimore this offseason was the injury to Ardarius Washington. I thought he was a big reason for the defensive turnaround the second half of last year. Remember, a year ago, Baltimore first half of the season was like, oh, God, they lose Mike McDonald. Defense looks awful. Zach Orr, this isn't going to work out. And then Orr kind of figures some things out. Washington emerges for them, and then he just tears his Achilles in workouts recently. So that's a bummer. But, again, with the Starks pick, I think that more than makes up for it. Obviously, another storyline around the Ravens this offseason was Justin Tucker with his whole sexual assault allegations, the massage situation. They end up moving on there, but let's face it, he hasn't been a great kicker the last few years. 22 of 30 last year, missed a couple of extra points. Really inconsistent from 50-plus, which was a strength of his early in his career. We'll see how the rookie kicker fares, but I think all in all, net positive this offseason for Baltimore, which coming off a 12-win team, coming off a year in which they almost beat Buffalo in the playoffs and Lamar played better in the postseason. I think this is a year where they feel like they're a Super Bowl contender again and should. Okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going the other way. Stock down. Even if they do get Aaron Rodgers, QB is a question mark, not only for this year with the diminished Rodgers. I think if you get 10% better than Russell Wilson, you'd probably be happy with that. And certainly long-term, you have questions there. Not really a ton of upgrades. Sure, DK Metcalf is a better player than George Pickens. I don't think many people would dispute that, but he's a couple years older. You gave up a second-round pick to get him. You gave him $150 million on a 5-year deal, which you're like, okay, DK, George Pickens, you pair those guys up, Aaron Rodgers, let's try to make this thing work. Well, then you flip George Pickens, which, again, I don't even really blame them in a vacuum because that was not a player that they trusted long-term. He caused issues in the building, late to meetings, stuff like that. These were red flags coming out of Georgia that is he fully locked in? This move is a signal that he was not. But my issue with it, again, is not trading Pickens, is not trading and paying DK. It's how it all adds up. You're basically just where you started, right? Like you've needed more offensive firepower. Oh, awesome. You got DK Metcalf. Well, you just traded your other receiver, so now you don't have a wide receiver too, which is where you were to begin with, right? Oh, you need a quarterback. You let Russell Wilson go, you're going to get Aaron Rodgers. Well, A, you don't have Rodgers yet, and even if you do, he's 41 years old, and he's a diminished player. And you don't have a long-term answer at quarterback, in my opinion. Maybe Will Howard works out, but that's a shot in the dark as a 6th-round pick. I did like some of their draft picks. Derek Harmon is a good player. I like that pick in the 1st round. Caleb Johnson late in the 3rd. I thought that was really good value. Jack Sawyer in the 4th was good. Will Howard in the 6th. I don't even blame them for not forcing issue at quarterback with Shedeur in the 1st or even like the 3rd round. But, again, you're just sitting here in this spot where, like, yeah, they might win 8, 9, 10 games again. Mike Tomlin's not going to let this team fall off a cliff. But even with Aaron Rodgers, what is the ceiling of this team? I don't think they get further than they do last year. I don't think they're a team that could win a playoff game. Certainly not multiple. You got a TJ Watt decision coming up soon. You're probably going to have to pay him, so that's going to hurt you salary cap-wise. So, I don't know. The Steelers are stuck in this rut where they're not ascending. At best, they're the same. But I kind of think it's a little bit of stock down because I don't see a lot of major improvements. A couple draft picks I like. I like DK Metcalf, but is DK in at $30 million a year, Pickens out on a rookie contract? Like, is that a major upgrade? I don't know. I don't really view it that way. I bet they'll still try to add another receiver at some point, but right now I'm not that excited about this Steelers team. I think they'll hover around 500 like they normally do. Maybe they sneak into the playoffs and lose in the 1st round, or maybe they miss the playoffs. Okay, subscribe to the channel. Breaking news reactions, segments like this, stock up, stock down, OTAs coverage. We're going to have it all throughout the rest of the offseason here on 4 Verts. Be sure to subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. Let's make it happen. Okay, Cincinnati Bengals. I thought about being kind of flatline, but I'm actually going to go stock down because when you break it all down, are they better? Like, are they better? And, like, everybody celebrated when they extended Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And, look, I get it, especially Chase. That's a no-brainer. Higgins in a vacuum, that's pretty good value, 28 per year. I don't think that's a crazy overpay by any means. But what was the Bengals' issue last year? Their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. And your only good player on defense, which we'll get to in a second, may not even be there. But I think long-term, you could just run into issues with Chase and Higgins accounting for almost $70 million per year, especially because the Bengals are not a big signing bonus team. So what does that mean? That means the cap hits are larger. That means you can't push as much money down the road. So when you're trying to win here and now, this year, next year, year after that, these cap hits are 20s, 30s millions of dollars with Higgins and Chase. Whereas, Philadelphia, for example, yeah, they have A.J. Brown, they have Devontae Smith, but they gave those guys big signing bonuses. They push money down the road. So their cap hits are manageable. You can add more talent. Bengals don't operate that way because they don't give as much cash in real time because they either don't want to or they're not as lucrative of an ownership group. That certainly has some truth to it. So kudos, you brought back your 2 guys. That's great, but that's not actually an improvement. You already had those guys. And now Trey Hendrickson, who is the only player that is a real difference maker on your defense, he's now getting squeezed out because the edge market has exploded. He's unhappy. They're not making him competitive offers. And I would guess in the end, he probably gets traded. And if that's the case, this defense could be really rough. I mean, it could be a rough scene if they don't have Trey Hendrickson. Like, who's their best player on defense without him? Can you name it? Like, I can't. I do not know who their best player on defense. This is kind of how they've done it. They let Jesse Bates walk. Now they're in this Hendrickson situation. And they drafted Shamar Stewart, a high upside player, but that's going to take time. Chances of him coming in, hitting the ground, and being a high-level player early, pretty slim. Demetrius Knight Jr., I like him, but he's an off-ball linebacker. Oh, and by the way, your top two draft picks here, who must be hits, did not participate at rookie minicamp because they have not signed their rookie contracts and chose to not sign the injury waivers to participate anyway. So that's not exactly off to a great start. So, look, Burrow is going to give you a chance in every game, along with Higgins and Chase, obviously. We saw that down the stretch last year. They rallied, but they are going to have to lean on that offense heavily this year just to even have a chance to make the playoffs. I ask, again, where have they gotten better? Oh, and by the way, their head coach is on the hot seat. So a lot going on in Cincinnati. Okay, then we end with the Browns. I'll just go neutral overall. I actually think long-term this could be a stock-up team, but you've got this QB chaos going on with the 2 draft picks and the 2 veterans who you gave money to, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Now, on the flip side, it can't be worse than the Deshaun Watson debacle. So, if Flacco starts early on, then you go to one of the rookies later. I think that's fine. Like, I think the Browns deep down know they're not a playoff team this year. I will say this. I thought Shedeur Sanders looked better than Dillon Gabriel in rookie minicamp. Take that for what it's worth. I didn't have boots on the ground, but just from what I saw, I thought he threw the ball better. But long term, we'll see if their QB of the future is on this roster. You'd probably bet against that being the case, but we'll see. Honestly, if things go south, I want to see one of these rookies play. Let's see if one of them can show something. And frankly, I'm more intrigued with Shedeur. You figured out the Garrett thing, so you get some credit for that. Now, you could argue, would have trading him for like 2 first-round picks been a better decision for your team long term? Probably, but I'm also not going to rip a franchise completely for keeping arguably the best player at his position in town. Like, it's hard to argue against that, especially when you're the Browns, right? Like, if you're the Eagles or the Chiefs and you trade Tyreek Hill, yeah, people are going to question it, but you're not going to get crucified for it. People would rip the Browns if they just traded Myles Garrett. So I think they get some credit, even though you could argue that for the better long-term health of the franchise, getting draft capital would have made more sense. I did like their other draft picks, and I don't even hate the value of when you got Shedeur in the 5th. I think that's actually a worthwhile swing. I just don't like it after you take a quarterback in the 3rd. I like the Mason Graham pick and the fact that you got the Jags first-round pick next year. So that really gives you some ammo to get a quarterback if you're not sold on the guys you currently have. Carson Schweizinger is an athletic linebacker. I like the 2 running backs, Quinton Judkins and Dillon Sampson. Harold Fannon's a fun player as well. So I think there's pieces on this roster, both young and developmental and established players like Myles Garrett. But when you don't have the quarterback, and I don't think they quite have the depth yet, you're just in trouble. So I do think you got to give Stefanski and Barry time because I think they've made some good personnel decisions. I think Stefanski can coach. But for 2025, I think they're pretty safely the worst team in the division unless the Steelers have to trot out Mason Rudolph or Will Howard. Then it's a race for the bottom team between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. All right, there you have it. Who do you guys think wins the AFC North? This is not my official division prediction video. We'll do that in July, August, whenever, just like we did last year. BAL for the Ravens, CIN for the Bengals, PIT for the Steelers, CLE for the Browns. Right now, I'd probably go Ravens 1, Bengals 2, Steelers 3, Browns 4. But, again, we'll save a final prediction for that once we get closer to the season. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, let me know in the comments, and we will hop to our next division. And if you didn't, we could ditch this series. But I think it's fun. It kind of catches everybody up on where each team stands. And we'll keep rolling it out if you guys enjoy it. So that's my take on that. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We'll see you next time.